Dragon easily has one of the most unique design choices coming from a mainstream manufacturer. When you're looking at the Qanba Dragon, originally the price was about $300 to $350. But as I looked on and off for the Qanba Dragon, the price has slowly come a little bit more down. It was $350, then went to $300. Now you can find one around the price of about $280 to $250 on Amazon, which I found mine for $250 while I was at Evo. Throughout the video, I'm just gonna be talking about its general design, just the pros and cons here and there, and just its overall what it comes with and all that boring shit. I did do some modding to it. As you guys can see here, I did a Korean mod as I do in all my fight sticks nowadays, and I'm gonna be changing out the buttons as well. The buttons aren't here yet, but they will be included in the video. Let's get past the boring part where I talk about the general stuff about the fight stick, so for you guys that don't know what a Qanba Dragon is, and then we can get into the modding portion of the video. So, Doria. The Dragon's build is extremely solid. Honestly, probably the most solid feeling stick I've laid my hands on. The Dragon opted out for a forged or casted metal design for the control panel and palm rest area of the fight stick. Compared to other fight sticks on the market where the metal templates are placed into plastic enclosures, you can feel the empty interior when pressing on buttons or joystick movements reverberating throughout the interior. For comparison, when you slap the buttons on, say, a TE, you can feel the vibration travel to your palm, but in the Dragon's case, you don't feel it at all or close to it. With this material choice does come at a cost, weighing in at about 11.5 pounds. Though it is heavier than your typical fight stick, they do spread the weight out comfortably, being about 20 inches wide, 12.5 inches long, and about 7.5 to 8 inches tall. Moving on to the controls, Qanba chose Qanba chose Sanwa parts rather than using their own, using a Sanwa JLF with a square gate and what feels to be a 1-pound spring, as well as Sanwa 30mm buttons. I'll be honest, I don't care for JLS, but damn does this chrome look nice. This overall chrome look just complements the silver and black colorway so well. The JLF feels like how a JLF should feel, loose and precise, so no complaints here. Oh yeah, and there's a chrome dust washer too. That's cool. Moving right above the primary controls is the Ps4 Pad, which you'll use to reset your position in training mode. Above that are slider switches containing your directional inputs, such as DP for directional pad, LS for left stick, RS for right stick. Next are your console select modes, which are PS4, PS3, and PC, which are used to play on, well, you get it. Above that, you will see buttons placed in the shape of the Qanba logo, comprising of the L3, R3, share, start options, the home button, and an LED button. The LED button controls the lighting throughout the stick, which are the top black and red accents, as well as a separate LED section on the underside of the stick. I feel this level of brightness is right in the sweet spot, where it's dim enough not to distract the player, but will grab onlookers' attention while you play. The default setting are the left side reacts to the joystick, and the right side reacts to the button presses, but you can change this slightly. Pressing it once will give you a green home button and all the lights off. Blue home button turns the top side and the bottom side buttons on, but doesn't react to any button or stick inputs. And the next press turns everything off, including the home button. And the last lighting mode is sleep mode. This is where the home button will go into a Mario star until you return. Moving on to the back side isn't much, but the quality of parts still continues even on the back side, with a 8.5-inch braided USB cable, which I feel is right in the middle for length, short enough for tournament setups, but far enough for a reasonable couch distance. There's also a Velcro strap so you can keep your cables nice and tidy. And then you have these chrome prong things, which I feel at this point Qanba is just flexing their craftsmanship. But I'll wait to show you what these actually are used for later in the video, which will blow your mind. Looking at the bottom of the fight stick, there are two anti-slip mats cut into the shape of cyberpunk Tetris pieces. And finally coming full circle underneath the palm rest area is a microphone jack, which I was actually caught off guard of how subtle was implemented. I plugged the stick into my PC and it automatically detected the drivers. Although the drivers were detected automatically, it was in PS4 mode. I tried it in PC mode, but for whatever reason the sound doesn't transfer over from the PC to the earphone jack. So if you want to use the earphone jack on the Dragon, you do have to keep it in PS4 mode. I don't know why, but it works flawlessly in my case and should in yours. Unlike the Brooks board with audio that only works with the PS4, this one works for PC, which is a big thumbs up for me. Just when you thought this Ferrari of fight stick's qualities would end, pressing the yet again subtle push locks under the wrist rest area reveals the only remaining piece of the Dragon that Qanba had slain. It scales with only the seal of Qanba claiming its victory for only the bearer's eyes to be shown to you. Aside from your Mega Ultra Chicken carpet are the underside of the joystick and buttons, which have a protective panel to keep wires from getting snagged when you open and close it, which I totally didn't break, by the way. The wires are color coordinated and also have a button map that shows you which wires go where, and even the wires themselves are tucked away extremely nicely. Again, things I didn't know I wanted. Now as you can see, there is a warning label of keeping hands away because god damn does it take a lot of force to fully close this thing. Open. No. No. Yes. So I know that was a lot to cover, but I feel like everything should be touched on at least a little bit. Now into the topic of modding. The holes for the buttons are 30.5mm, which allows for some wiggle room when you're installing and removing buttons. The tabs will actually rest on the underside of the acrylic panel and are also keyed into the body of the fight stick, making them go in only one way. I decided to go with screw-in type buttons, which are the Crown SDB mechanical push buttons, which feel great. The only thing to look out for screw-in type buttons that they do get a little close to the standoff for the interior acrylic panel, but other than that, it was a painless install. Remember when I told you I was gonna blow your mind? When removing the joystick, first remove the ball or bat top from your stick. Slowly rest the stick on the handrest, slowly onto the damn prongs. Who thinks of this? Not sure if it was its true intention, but it's too convenient not to be. Or you can just pop the trunk open and do it the same way you did the buttons. The only reason I figured this out is when I was cutting the hole for the Korean lever, I needed to keep it relatively flat. The Dragon accommodates a full Korean lever pretty easily, but if you want to keep the interior acrylic panel, you have to do some finagling to get it back on. The lever I'm using is the Fujin V3, but I won't say much in this video because I'm going to be doing a review on it later in the future, as well as the crown buttons. And finally, the top acrylic panel, which on the Dragon takes up quite a bit of real estate. The panel is held in by 8 screws covered by these meh goo cover things, and then you can remove the panel, revealing the sleek aluminum body. As you've seen earlier in the video, I did try the vinyl route with the black chrome, but it just didn't come out the way I liked. It wasn't bad, but the vinyl just wasn't the best of quality. In the end, I opted out making my own artwork in a clear acrylic panel. I also got a black acrylic panel, as I do like the Black Mirror-esque from the original acrylic panel that comes with the Dragon, but if for whatever reason I decide to go back to say a JLF style, a Semetsu, or a short collar lever design, I can visually erase the oversized hole from the Korean lever. And finally, the final form of my Dragon. I actually have no idea what it looks like in person because as I'm voicing this, the acrylic panel and the artwork is not here with me, so you guys are actually seeing it. Hopefully it came out pretty good. So now in this portion, I'm just going to go over things that people are usually concerned of when they're looking at the Dragon. First off, the size. The Dragon is simply a big stick. It's not going to fit in a casual like North Face backpack, Jansport. It's not going to fit in a backpack like that. You're going to need like a duffel bag, man up and carry it around, or you can get Qanba's specific fight stick bag known as the Aegis that accommodates all other fight sticks. Another thing is, since it's so wide, for example like my generic office chair that I sit here while I'm on my desktop, the sides tend to rub on the armrest just a little bit because of how wide it is. Now, that's going to be the con portion, but for me, the pro of the weight and the overall size of the Dragon, it doesn't move at all when I have it on my lap. I do tend to have a nervous leg every once in a while when I'm playing games, so like I end up kind of like accidentally sliding the fight stick slowly farther and farther away off my lap. When I feel I have the Dragon, it doesn't move at all because the weight's keeping it centered and it's not moving anywhere, and it relatively keeps my hands flat. That keeps you consistent in your movement. Another thing that's a little tiresome, but the stock acrylic panel is a fingerprint magnet. Throughout this entire video, I had my microfiber towel that I was wiping off every time I did some B-roll shots, and even in my opening scene, I got some fingerprints on it. If you're somebody that like to keep things tidy, keep the microfiber in the trunk compartment and wipe it off every once in a while. That only happens with the black acrylic panels, even with the one I bought from Focus Attack. After I got the art and the clear acrylic panel, the fingerprints basically don't even show up due to the nature of the artwork. Another small annoyance thing is the little sticky things that cover the original screws that go into the acrylic panel. They're one-time use only, so once you try to put them back on, they're not going to be as flush as they were when you first got the stick. So if you take them off once, be ready to have the exposed screws. Now you can probably get like maybe an oversized hex screw or black screw to cover it, but that's gonna be up to you. Next thing is the USB cable. I understand people prefer people prefer quick disconnect USB cables nowadays, and you know, you get your ass kicked, you just want to fucking wrap that shit up and just get the fuck out of there. I understand, but sometimes you may forget that cable and not even be able to play. I would always dread the day when I would forget one and just be bummed out that I can't play for that day or I would have to use somebody else's stick. Lastly is something relatively small, and I meant actually all on the fight stick. The start and share buttons, they're a little small for their use. Their buttons are pretty small. They're small. I think that's it. I don't really think there's anything that will drive me away from telling somebody to start off with the Dragon. I feel like the misconception is that new arcade stick owners or first-time fighting game players shouldn't get a premium fight stick as their first fight stick. Reason being is that the price point is pretty up there and you can get something cheaper and mod it to the point of the premium fight stick, but the whole point of it is that there's not a lot of fight sticks out there that are up to this grade. There's not a lot of fight sticks that look like the Dragon or even compare in build quality. All fight sticks have joysticks, all fight sticks have buttons. They may interact pretty much the same way, and PCBs may be a frame or two faster, but they're not going to be so much of a difference where it's going to be like a Ferrari speed versus a Toyota Corolla. They're going to be pretty much used in the same way, and will only be up to the user to fully utilize the tools that's in front of them. It comes with great parts right off the bat, so you don't have to worry about like trying to mod in the future or maybe upgrade to something else. And when you pop it open, Qanba makes it so easy to like take things out and put things back together without getting really confused on where things can go for first-time users. And with all that in mind, Qanba definitely took some unique steps in making sure this was the most unique fight stick on the market. Nobody took any real like chances in a design because Qanba definitely nailed it. This is the most unique and pretty much, to me at least, one of the most recognizable sticks out there because just of its overall design and look. I'm glad that Qanba definitely went outside the box and went for something that's not a typical design and made it their own. Now, who is this for? Well, that's gonna be a hard question because the Qanba definitely suits almost every player out there. When it comes to being a collector, it's not like it's a limited value, it's not like a limited run, like a VLX Diamond per se. It's not something that you're going to be stressing out if you didn't pick it up at that one moment. Compared to something like a tournament player or like a casual player, I feel like they'll enjoy this to its fullest extent. It comes with high quality parts right out of the box. It comes with pretty much a super easy layout, and it's just the premium fights that can suit any player out there. You still have other options like an Obsidian, a TE, a Hori Wrap 4, you still have like a Mayflash. You have plenty of other options that aren't nearly close to this price point. With all that said, I think we're finally at the end of this video. I think I covered everything that I wanted to say about the Dragon. Like I said, man, it's a unique stick. It comes with everything you'll need. It's great. I love this thing. I think it's about time that I enjoy this thing and stop modding it and put it down for a minute and actually put it on my lap and finally get some games in. And I think there's only one way to end this video. Thank you guys for joining me again. Hopefully this video was informational enough for you to see if a Dragon is going to be fulfilling for your needs and see if you wanted to try something new and be a scrub like me. Peace out, until next time.